pleasure tonight to introduce to you Bhakti Vikasha Swami. Swami indicates that he has taken the renounced order of life, which basically means serving God, serving society with all of his time, energy, thoughts, deeds, minimizing one's material necessities to the basic in order to use all of his time for spiritual cultivation that is very important in this world, and that is the topic of tonight's discussion. Now, before I say what I'm about to say, we have a few more folks that we need to situate. Canela, do you mind coming forward? This is a regular state of affairs here. Those of you who are new, don't get freaked. Okay. So His Holiness has disciples all over the world, and I happen to be one of his disciples. From nature we learn few things, if not a whole lot of things. One thing that we learn is, we observe that the clouds get water from the ocean. And then once they accumulate this water, the clouds pour this water back into the ocean. And that's sort of a situation that's taking place right here, right now. His Holiness requested me to speak, but anything I learned from him. So it is like a cloud taking water from the ocean and then pouring it back. Puranas are sections of these ancient Vedic texts that talk about history of this world. There's a description of a mother who gave birth to a self-realized child. A self-realized child. And then, as soon as this child was able to speak, the mother asked her own child about the topic of self-realization, the spiritual topics. And the child taught her a system of Sankhya Yoga philosophy, which is continuing even up until present days. Sankhya means analysis of the constituents of this world, of the reality. In other words, everything that we perceive is analyzed by this Sankhya philosophy. And yoga means that this kind of analytical study connects us with the Supreme. And then, of many things she learned from her own son, she learned that he taught her about two worlds, about the external world and about the internal world. By absorption in the external world, the self becomes implicated. And by the absorption in the internal world, the self actualizes its own freedom. Therefore, it taught that it is for our own self-interest, objective self-interest, is the cultivation of the internal world. And I'll give you one example to help you understand, to help you clarify what I'm saying here. Imagine a person that is very, very comfortable externally, sitting on a big soft pillow like some of you may be sitting. Imagine a situation constantly, externally very, very comfortable. If that person is internally uncomfortable, despite the external comfort, would that person be considered comfortable? No. That person would be considered an uncomfortable person. That person can have anything externally comfortable, But if internally that person is uncomfortable, that person is really uncomfortable. Either way around, externally, one might be very, very uncomfortable. But if that person is internally comfortable, that person is really comfortable. Now think about this for a moment. The whole world, I mean people, is running mad to one or the other extent about the external acquisitions, trying to make ourselves very comfortable externally. But the two worlds, the external world, actually let me put it this way, internal world does not depend on its comfort, happiness and well-being on the external world. It is an independent thing. Externally you could be comfortable, uncomfortable, or something in between. And that has no influence on what is your internal state. As a matter of fact, quite often, if not in most cases, we find that people who are externally very comfortable and have means to provide maximum comfort externally are very often living in an internal hell. Anxiety and fear and discomfort of all sorts. So which world should we cultivate? It just absolutely makes sense. It is the internal garden that we should be cultivating. That is the garden that we should be cultivating. However, this is not taught in the modern society. If you stick your head outside, everything will tell you. You have to be comfortable externally. You have to look very sexy. You have to increase your income. You have to eat at certain places. God forbid you fast.
Act cool.
Act cool.
It's a good word, act.
Act cool. But that's not where it's at. So what this enlightened son taught to his own mother is that you should cultivate your internal garden. That's where your well-being is. That's where your well-being is. And this kind of thing that we have just done, chanting Hare Krishna like this together, it is a means of cultivating our internal garden. Studying books of wisdom such as Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam, from which I have taken this excerpt, are the means by which we can cultivate our internal gardens. Once you're internally okay, externally it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Comfort, discomfort, it doesn't matter, because internally you're a comfortable person. So one ultimate comfort, one ultimate happiness, lasting happiness, and peace and well-being lies in the internal cultivation. Something that goes against everything we're being taught in modern society. Usually from the moment we take birth, we're being taught by our parents, by society, school. Education is all about it. Most people go to school to provide for the comfort throughout their lives, and yet there's no comfort. This is the irony. So one of the purposes of this lounge here is to remind us of these things and to provide you with means and a culture, activities and association through which you can cultivate your internal garden. So I'll stop there, leave it short and hopefully sweet. Maybe a little spicy. There's some taste in spicy too. Perhaps Marge would like to say something? If you wish.
Should I call that Labdva Sudurlavamidamba? Yeah. They're saying by studying books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is an 18,000 verse composition. I'll recite one of them in the original Sanskrit, then I'll give the translation. Labdva sudurlavamidam bahu sambhavante manusham artadam anityam apihadhira Turanam yateta napatedanu nityayavan nisriyasaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. This means that we have now got human life. We have many births. Now we have the human birth. In human birth there's enough intelligence to discuss matters such as we are discussing now, and to perceive that this material world is uncomfortable. I'm paraphrasing. That our real existence is spiritual existence. We don't belong in this world of birth and death. Therefore, an intelligent person should do whatever is required before their next death so that they don't get another birth, to act for liberation. And if we think, well, why don't I just enjoy myself? We consider we've been trying to do that in all the other births we had, and it simply led to rebirth. So there's one of 18,000 thoughts that you could base your life on, so that you don't get reborn and get spiritual life. Real life is spiritual life. All right.